Hey everybody, and welcome to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely friends and GVG co-founders, Steve Bowling and Derek Bittner, as well as our very, very special guest, Gilly the Kid. Gil, man, how's it going?
I'm good. How is everybody else doing?
We're good. It's hump day. We're halfway through the week. That's a good thing, I think, for everyone. We're that much closer to Friday than we were 2 days ago. So, you know, all good news here, right?
Yeah, man, it is a hell of a week. I feel really good today,
Yes.
but it feels like this week is going a little faster than I'd like it to.
Apparently my volume is incredibly loud, so I am
Yeah, you're
lowering that right now.
All right, good. I was going to say you're at the normal volume in Discord, so.
Weird. Okay, is that better for everybody? Okay, better now.
I'm flipping my camera again because there we go.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that within Discord.
You can't.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool. Anyway, we could talk about tech stuff, which, in case you didn't know, that's the reason we're late, because it always is. But anyway, Ash,
Yes.
I think we have a lot of stuff to discuss, so I'm going to get out of your way.
We do have a lot to discuss, yes, and apparently my mic volume is better now, so that's good. Of course, before we get to the news, we do have a sponsor for today's episode, and that, of course, is the awesome Chip Damage Mike. And Mike says, "Hi, my name is Mike, and I win all my fighting game matches via chip damage. I am also plagued by being interested in too many things. Movies, comics, manga, anime, video games, toys, and all nerd culture have their hooks firmly embedded into my brain, and I just want to talk about it. Over on my channel, Chip Damage Mike, we look at rare, weird, and valuable games on all platforms, ranging from oddities like the Neo Geo Pocket to the big ones like the PlayStation 4. I'll also be going over toy releases from companies like First 4 Figures, Figma, and Kotobukiya, as well as discussions on where to start on big franchises like Yakuza and Final Fantasy. I want this channel to be a positive force where enthusiasts and collectors come together over their shared love of nerd media and culture. So get hype and please click on over and subscribe to Chip Damage Mike on YouTube, and let's have some fun. And also, in celebration of the recent release of Godzilla vs. Kong, they also released a video on Godzilla collectibles ranging from video games to, get this, official Godzilla whiskey, which is just wild to me. This actually might be on their channel right now, but they are also working on a video on which PlayStation Network games to download before the PS3 and Vita shops are closed. So, of course, we do have for those of you in our live audience, we have a link in the chat right now for you to click over and subscribe. And for those of you watching the VOD version, we'll have a link in the video description below. So just scroll down and please sub to Chip Damage Mike. We'd really appreciate it. And, of course, Mike, thank you so much for your continued sponsorship. We really appreciate you. And, we can't love you enough. With that said, we got a lot of news to cover today, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to that.
I'm actually kind of curious what you guys thought of the Street Fighter thing, because I didn't get a chance to watch it. So it's like, was something cool shown?
I would say a few cool things were shown, right, Steve?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Capcom did a stream, which we co-streamed for the Street Fighter V Spring Update. And there's an archive of that on the channel now if you want to go watch it. But we saw a few things. We saw updates on Oro, who apparently wears underwear now. We saw Akira, which was really, really cool. I was really happy to see her. And we got a release date for Rose, which is April 19th, so 12 days away.
And Rose has like a whole new mechanic now where she can use like up to 4 different tarot cards to both increase her own stats and I believe decrease the stats of her opponent.
Yep.
Which is really cool. Yeah, like that's something that has not existed in her kit before now. And so that definitely goes a long way toward making her a really unique character in Street Fighter V.
And the card is random, which I really like. Like, you can tell which card she has in her hand with a little icon next to her V-trigger gauge. But, yeah, it's cool stuff. Nothing mind-blowing, but a cool event.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me, I think for both of us, Steve, was Akira from Rival Schools. They did show off just a bit of a sneak peek, and she looks awesome. She's got what seems to be crazy air combos, which harken back to her Rival Schools origin. And it looks like one of her V skills or one of her V triggers is Daigo. Daigo drops in and does some sort of attack that, in the case we saw, KO'd Dan straight up, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, I did dig that. But yeah, cool event. Definitely has me interested in picking up Street Fighter V again for the first time in a while. Now I just got to dig out my.
Do you play Street Fighter V, Gil?
I haven't played Street Fighter V in years. But I'm familiar enough with it now because I was getting into it and then like I just kind of fell off. But I'm familiar enough.
I picked it up when it first came out, and I haven't really touched it ever since they've done any kind of update to it. It's like, oh yeah, I enjoyed 4. I should get into 5, especially with this new update thing. Oh god, I have no real interest in this now. Well, oh well.
Yeah, I enjoy Street Fighter V, but I'm certainly not good at it. I enjoy it in the casual sense. I love watching it. I love watching high-level play of Street Fighter V. But yeah, I'm not good at it. I have the fundamentals, but that's about it.
Same.
That's about it.
I did find the ideal pad for this. Retrobit makes a wireless Saturn-style fight pad, so I'm going to pick one of those up and use that for 5 once Rose comes out.
Nice.
Or I might try to find the one they sent me like 2 years ago, if I know where it is.
All right. Well, having discussed the Street Fighter V Spring Update presentation, are we ready to move on to the news?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get that first story up on screen then. And this one's super cool, especially for you anime fans out there. And that is that a new PlayStation 5 VR game has been announced. It's a kind of a escape racer game called Runner. And it's very clearly inspired by 90s and other old school anime like Akira, Patlabor, Ghost in the Shell. And I actually heard about this and watched this trailer before we were going to make it a news story for TNT today, and I was already hooked on this. Have any of you seen the trailer yet?
I watched a little bit of it. I didn't get through the whole thing, but
well, I'll go ahead and just read the flavor, the hype text here for the game. And it goes, "When there's nowhere left to hide, the only way out is through. Runner is an arcade-inspired virtual reality driving action game. Players take on the role of Mina, a rogue mod courier at the center of a massive citywide pursuit. Beginning at the heart of Presidium, the neon-drenched capital of the mining colony moon N351, Mina's only means of escape is through the Thoroughfare, a massive high-speed expressway that snakes through the entirety of the sprawling colony complex. Pursued by the forces of the Caldara Corporation, Mina must race through 7 sectors while fighting off relentless waves of autonomous corporate combat drones. Using only their wits, their cybernetics, and a unique array of special abilities, the player will become the runner in this fast-paced kinetic virtual reality experience." This is so cyberpunk 90s sci-fi. It's just oozing it from every pore, and I'm all about it, you guys.
Oh yeah, this is 100% my jam. Like, I love the look of this game. I'm watching the trailer now. It's playing for our audience, but it definitely has that kind of Akira vibe to it. It feels like, you could tell me this is Neo Tokyo, and I'd be like, yeah, all right. I also love the fact that it solves one of the key issues that I think modern VR has, and that's locomotion. You're sitting on a moving motorcycle, so you don't have to worry about walking around or teleporting places. It handles that part for you, and I think it reminds me of one of the initial demos that Sony had for the first version of PSVR. Which was like it was like a getaway, and you were helping someone rob a bank, and then you were taking out the cops as they were driving the getaway car, which I thought was a really cool little VR demo. And I'm glad to see something like that is expanded into kind of a more full-fledged experience, and one that kind of has this, and it has this really cool aesthetic going for it. I think this is a definite pickup for me. I'll be playing this whenever the heck it comes out.
I'm not a VR guy at all, and this looks really cool. Like, honestly, like gameplay wise, especially with them saying it's 360 degree freeform gunplay, it's kind of like Panzer Dragoon. You're on rails, you're shooting enemies from all sides, and it just has a really cool aesthetic. There's not a lot of really cool details in there too, because during some of the shots you can see the reflection of Mina's eyes in the helmet, so you can actually see them pop up, giving that extra sort of sense that you are her. I've not really seen a VR game like this, so I don't know. If I ever get it, maybe I'd pick it up, but it's also one of those things like, I'm probably not going to pick up VR, so I can't even enjoy it, so...
See, I think I am now. I mean, I've long been into VR as kind of a third pillar. I don't think it's going to replace core gaming at all, but what I played of it, I really like, and that includes the original PSVR. I just didn't want to add a bunch of wires to my setup, but with the rumor at least being that the PS5 next-gen PSVR is going to only have one wire, potentially.
Well, that isn't a rumor. That's confirmed from Sony.
Oh, right. Yes, that was that was confirmed on the PlayStation blog. I forgot, along with the controller reveal. Yeah, so especially knowing for sure that it is going to be one wire, I'm all in on embracing VR because I want to play stuff like this. Not to mention all the back catalog stuff on the PlayStation Store, like Astrobot, which I really want to experience as well. So, Runner seems like it's right up my alley. I love the music in the trailer. The whole thing is just it really captures that old school anime cyberpunk aesthetic, and I'm all about that.
Nice.
How do you feel about it, Gil?
Well, funny story. So it looks great. It looks really cool. It looks like something I'd be into. Unfortunately, I get really bad motion sickness and I can't play VR. I actually purchased a PSVR one time and I took it back the same day because I really wanted to do Doom VFR.
Oh, no.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't play it. So.
Oh man.
And I know how much you're digging Doom Eternal right now, so it's like, that has to suck.
Yeah.
I've heard really good things about Doom VFR too.
Yeah, me too.
Charlie Bird says the prequel to Runner 2 looks way different. I assume you mean, I was thinking that Bit Trip Runner, which a series I also love and wouldn't mind seeing in VR. But yeah, there was something else I wanted to mention on the...
I don't know how they...
can't find it. Oh, yeah.
I'm like trying to think of like how you would solve that problem of motion sickness, and I don't even know what you could do.
There's been many suggestions.
Right.
None have helped.
Joseph Rutkin was great.
There's that stuff you can take. What is it?
Dramamine.
Yeah. I haven't tried that. But
all right.
I've been told that Dramamine. So I get motion sickness in real life, like on rides at theme parks.
Yep, me too.
I can't handle them, but I don't get it in VR at all. And I've been told that Dramamine would help me with that. But I'm like, I could take a pill and hope for the best, or just not ride the ride and guarantee I won't vomit. I'm like, I'll stick with that one. I'll keep my corn dogs in my stomach.
You just keep a puke bucket nearby. It's like, all right, I'm having fun. Okay, next level.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I get sick for a second, I'm out of commission the whole day. Like
Yeah.
Same. If I go to a theme park and I like get actually ill on a ride, I have like a pounding headache for the whole rest of the day. It sucks.
I'm nauseous the whole day.
Yep. That is kind of Amy as well, because she has that happen with her just in first-person games, so she can get those terrible headaches. It doesn't last the entire day, but for a few hours.
I have issue with FPS sometimes. It's not always, but sometimes I'll be playing and my brain's like, guess what? Guess what? You're sick now.
Yeah.
Time for a break.
Joseph Rutkin in the chat with an amazing idea of doing an Initial D game in VR. That would be really... And you got to have the Eurobeat pumping through your headphones. Like, you got to have that legit Eurobeat soundtrack, right? But I would be all about that. I think that's super cool.
So the only thing that it's interesting because I've played driving games in VR, and I think because it's something relatable to me, it doesn't feel right. Like, I'm like, I realize I'm holding a controller. Like, I would need a steering wheel and pedals and a gear shifter and all that stuff. And it would have to be in the exact same place that it is in the VR world, or else there'd be this weird cognitive dissonance for me. Like, hey, that thing's over there and I'm holding this thing over here. When I think of like the most immersive racing sim type of scenario, I would want one of those stupid, absurdly expensive setups where somebody's got like a racing chair and like 3 monitors.
The Gran Turismo setup people always did back in the night.
I would love to play an Initial D game like that. But I tried Project Cars in VR, and I was just like, this doesn't feel right to me at all. I don't know. It just didn't click. I think it's easier when it's stuff that's more abstract, like piloting a spaceship, or, I'm sure I could in real life hold 2 guns while on a motorcycle, but I probably won't. So I'm never going to be like, this doesn't feel like the last time I fired guns into a crowd from a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You lead an interesting life.
You might be right.
I probably wouldn't be a YouTuber if that was my chosen hobby.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there is a drive-by enthusiast channel on YouTube somewhere, but I haven't found it yet.
Well, I will say that when I played Mario Kart VR in my last trip to Japan, it worked quite... of course, now that's a bespoke setup with, it's a very expensive setup. But it was a lot of fun, and it was certainly convincing. But, you might be right, Steve, that especially for consumer-level VR, more abstract experiences might be the way to go. as opposed to that visceral. I mean, I'd love to maybe see how a Ridge Racer VR game could work, but for that to happen, we'd just need to get another Ridge Racer game, period. And I don't see that happening.
What if it's you put on the VR headset and it's just who was it? No, it wasn't. Is it Kaz Hirai just going Ridge Racer? Like you don't actually get to play anything. I can't
say I'd be against it. Yeah, can't say I'd be
it's just
a
virtual Kaz Hirai throwing confetti in your face, asking you to be excited.
Yeah. There you go.
Remember that one? Ridge Racer. Yeah. Before we move on to the next story, I want to extend a warm welcome to Nintendosis in the chat. It's a name I don't recognize in our live audience, so I wanted to say welcome. And also welcome to Anthony Wilson Jr., who's one of our newest EPs. And I believe this is your first time making the live show. You said, I'm glad I finally made it to a live show. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Well, we love you too, and thank you so much, not only for supporting us as an EP, but for just being here in our live audience and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our second news story of the day, which has to do with good old E3. And this was posted in our Discord by Eddie Zacianland and Fangs. And essentially, the ESA has a lot more support for their digital E3 this year than one might have thought at first. And Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two, and Warner Brothers are all confirmed for this year's E3 online. So, obviously, the notable exclusion there is Sony, PlayStation. They're not there. They may not be there. And frankly, as we've said, PlayStation doesn't need E3. And neither do Nintendo or Xbox, but they're there anyway. How are you guys feeling about this? We might. It seems like we're going to have more of an E3 event, even digitally, this year than maybe we once thought.
I'm excited for it. I think that E3 does need. I've said a long time that the ESA needs to keep it relevant. I still love E3, even though the ESA is objectively crap, and I don't necessarily like them. But that doesn't change that the show is an awesome place for those of us in the industry to gather, to see each other, and to learn about new games. I mean, it really is, in terms of being informative, I think it's the best show out there, just because it has, it has age on its side. It's been the premier show for as long as most of us can remember. And while PAX, I think, is objectively a better show in terms of just being easier to get around, less stressful to be part of, and being more streamlined in literally every single way. I think that, it doesn't get as much news out of the gate as E3 manages to. And I think that just comes down to legacy. So I think if E3 wants, if there is going to be an E3 22, when hopefully we're all vaccinated and the world is maybe no longer on fire, or at least on a different kind of fire that doesn't infect us, then this show has to be better than last year. Because last year there was nothing. And so we absolutely need something to
better
exist.
Than nothing is literally the quote you're going with, Steve. Wow.
I mean, would you set a higher bar for the ESA right now?
Here's a fun question. Right. I don't want to be that guy, but did they say anything about maybe figuring out how to prevent what happened last time from happening again?
I mean, theoretically, with none of us actually physically being there, they shouldn't be able to do it again.
I know. I meant like if the next time that they do this in person,
right?
That's the problem I've had, and I've certainly carried that torch for a while. I still kind of feel that anger that I did, that raw anger that I did at the ESA when I found out that I'd been doxxed. And frankly, I have said that I don't ever want to give them my personal info again. I realize that I'm probably going to have to for the next in-person E3. If I choose to go.
But you won't.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like, you need to be there to cover it, but you don't want them to have your information.
But, and I've given this a lot of thought, they don't need your physical home address for any fucking reason. They need an address. So what I'm going to do is, before I register for E3 2022 or for any other show, because while this was definitely... because the ESA was lazy in their security practices, it could, in theory, happen to anybody. Like, PAX stores their information better, but, I mean, somebody could hack them, right? Like, just because it's not out there in an unencrypted file that anyone can reach doesn't mean that it can't be accessed by someone that knows what they're doing. So, ever since this happened, I've long thought, like, I do need to just get a P.O. box and have that for my business for mail coming to me for business, I really should have a business mail address. And that's not victim blaming or anything, because you guys know my address was on that list. So
for sure. No.
I'm just saying that if I need to have an address to give to people I don't trust with my home address. And in this this line of work, I really should have done that a long time ago, because I mentioned to you guys I got a random ass package on my doorstep that I didn't know who sent it. And I mean, there have definitely been times where I get a package and I'm just holding my breath. I'm like, please don't be something disgusting. Please. It's never turned out that that's the case. But there are definitely times where my heart rate elevates and I'm like, man, if this is if this is how I die, if I die because someone doesn't like my opinion on Skyward Sword, I am going to be really pissed off.
Right? It's like, please don't let it be a GV grenade. That's the one thing we don't want.
You just end up in the afterlife. It's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Why did I die, great deity? Because somebody didn't like what you said about a video game on the internet.
Why didn't I just tell him I like Sonic Unleashed?
That's all it takes. That's all it takes for
I love the hedgehog.
Really fringe weirdos out there. I love some of these ideas in the chat. Classy Mudkip says, just give them a random KFC address for Steve. Eddie Beale says, name El Asho, address Wayne Manor.
I would love it if I came to be known at my local KFC as the guy that gets free video games shipped there. I'll take some spicy strips and that PR package.
I'm here to pick up my mail, and I'll take a 10 piece to go.
There's another really, really top tier idea here from Juan. Name, I'm a Lick Butts. Address, Greenville Zone.
Oh my God.
Great. Oh, these are so good.
It is interesting. They got, taking it back to this E3 online thing. So they got some big names, obviously Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, what have you. But there are some people who definitely aren't there. We mentioned Sony, but EA's not there. Activision Blizzard, Sega, Bandai Namco, and Square Enix. So it's like,
those are big.
Yeah, those are some big ones, especially with Square Enix. Usually has a pretty pronounced presence there. Sega is okay. Same with Bandai Namco, and then EA usually has its own conferences. So I don't know. It still feels like they're hanging on by a thread.
Bandai Namco is a bigger presence than I think you're giving it credit for. They recreated Goku's house within one of the halls in 2019.
Oh yeah, Bandai Namco usually goes pretty heavy in on their booth design.
Yeah, Square Enix and Bandai are two of the larger booths in whatever the B tier hall is. I never remember if it's South or West or whatever the hell the hall name is, but the one that doesn't have the big three in it, Square and Bandai are two of the bigger booths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the South Hall, those two have a massive presence. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake, the booth for that was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
That was amazing.
But ridiculous.
And Capcom usually has a nice booth, too. I think last year they had a giant sculpture statue for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. That was really cool.
I remember one year they had, you could do a walkthrough of a Resident Evil house. And
it was Resident Evil 7. They recreated the Baker's house.
Oh man,
yeah.
I wanted to do that and I didn't have the time, and I still regret that.
If there was a way for them to have some sort of show where Capcom was at and they could have a Resident Evil 8 demo, there'd just be a life-size statue of Lady Dimitrescu and all that stuff.
There would almost certainly be just a really tall cosplayer doing it. Where's the tallest lady we can find? We'll do whatever it takes.
Daniel Imini with an important correction, saying 2 years ago, you mean. Yeah, it's funny how it doesn't really feel like it's been more than a year since I've been to an E3, but it also does. It's a weird thing where it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it also kind of does at the same time. It's easy to forget that last year we didn't go to any shows, even though last year was the longest year. Good Lord. So I guess the digital E3 is going to be bigger than we thought, and there is still time for some of those missing publishers to join up. Maybe they will, but something tells me this isn't going to be the final lineup. There are still a couple of months to go, so I imagine that the ESA will probably delight in being able to announce a few more partners in the lead up to the actual show. But it is, it will be exciting. Despite my and our grievances with E3, well, mainly with the ESA. E3 is hype. right? At the end of the day, E3 is hype, and we're getting a lot of announcements. Nintendo's part of it. Obviously, we all really look forward to the E3 Directs, or whatever they want to call them, the digital presentations. There will be a big Smash reveal. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, I'm glad it's happening. Also, it is important to know that the ESA wants you to know that it is now called, at least for this year, the Electronic Entertainment Experience. Not Expo, Experience, because it's online.
So then it's the first one. This is the first one, then.
The first one, yeah. As kind of an addendum to this, the ESA has also reconfirmed that its plans for potentially putting on-demand demos behind a paywall are not happening. They have reconfirmed that paywall stuff in general is not going to happen for this online E3. So just in case you were concerned that there might be a paid element to this, really, there's not going to be, and they've reconfirmed that. So that's definitely good news.
Cool.
But yeah, yeah, you feel exactly like I do. There. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, I'm sure there's going to be some neat things announced, but it's hard to have any kind of real hype for this at the moment.
Right. Jared totally Edinger asks a pretty valid question in the chat. What about the influencers, though? E3 doesn't separate those two. They have just a media badge. So if you're what would traditionally be considered an influencer, which depending on who you talk to, that's what we are, you would still get a media badge. More progressive shows like PAX actually do separate those out and have different badge types. I've actually one year I somehow ended up with a media, an influencer, and a VIP badge to PAX all at the same time, which, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wore all three just for the absurdity of it, but...
Right. Okay, well, I think we've just about exhausted this topic, so let's go ahead and move on to our next news story. And this was posted in our Discord by Fangs, and this has to do with PlayStation Now. So the PlayStation 5 upgrades for Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3, which are normally free if you have a PS5, actually require payment if you are playing the PS4 versions on PlayStation Now, which seems to kind of keep underlining PlayStation Now as a PS4-centric service and not quite as inviting of PS5 gaming opportunities. On one hand, though, I can kind of see where this makes sense. It's not the best look, but at the same time, if you're getting all these as part of a subscription service, I can kind of see the logic. Where do you guys fall on this?
I've never really cared about PlayStation Now. I've never heard great things. I've never looked into it. So this honestly doesn't affect me. I don't really care. I mean, it says something, but it sucks for the people who want, who do use it and would like to use it for their PlayStation 5. But I don't know. I guess there's a percentage of people who do use it, but you never really hear about PlayStation Now too much. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm a PlayStation person through and through, but PlayStation Now has never interested me. It doesn't seem like a particularly good game streaming service. There's, the few times I've tried it, which have been in like what they would want to be ideal settings, like on show floors at E3, like in demos. Like I've had this demoed to me by Sony and it didn't work great there. So the last thing I'm going to do is go home and be like, yeah, I'm going to pay for this. So I just have never had faith in it. I understand that it lets you download the games now to your hard drive, very similar to Game Pass. But at the same time, I just think that the library selection isn't there in the same way it is for Xbox Game Pass. So I don't have any incentive to really dip into this. And nothing they've done so far has shown me that I really want to. So, I mean, for those of you that use it, this is objectively crappy that it's still just PS4 only. But also, if you manage to get a PS5, is game streaming the thing you want to do with it? I don't understand. Who's it for?
Do you bother with PlayStation Now, Gil?
No. I'm in the same camp as you. But Steve, I was going to say, I mean, if you have because the PS5 basically replaces the PS4. So if you were using it on PS4 and now you're using your PS5 for PS4 content.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess I get that, but I just think, like, I don't understand the reason for the service to exist in the first place, I guess, because there's not a ton of content on it. Like, you have to have a PlayStation console already. at least with, you know, Game Pass, you can log in through a web browser and start playing those games.
I really don't understand it. It's
I could understand if it was like a retro games only service and it let you play PS3 2-in-1.
Oh, hell yeah.
See, that would get me interested. I was like, okay, sure, that has value.
I have a PS4, and this is just letting me subscribe to remotely play those games. It just doesn't make a whole ton of sense.
It's like a half-assed attempt at doing a Game Pass. It's like a Nintendo doing online effort.
Yeah, come on,
exactly.
You got to use your whole ass for this, not just half.
I tried PlayStation Now for like a minute, right around when it launched, just to see with the week subscription and the free subscription. It was fine, but I clearly didn't feel like it filled any sort of void or served any sort of purpose in my life because I let the subscription, or I canceled it right away. It's cool, and I'm sure it's neat if you have a really good internet connection, but I kind of agree with you guys.
Ditto M in the chat says, I don't think most people care. According to Spunwave's recent poll, only 9% of his audience is subbed to PS Now, which seems high to me.
Yeah, right.
It's surprisingly high.
Yeah, I would think so too. The thing about the Marvels, Avengers, and Borderlands 3 upgrade not being, you can only play it on PS4 through PS Now. Again, though, it's a shame, but this kind of reminds me of when people were complaining that the PlayStation Plus version of FF7 Remake didn't include the free upgrade to Intergrade. Why would it, though? Right? Why would Square? It's part of a subscription service. Yeah. You're essentially getting a PS5 upgrade of FF7 Remake for free at that point. So I gotta say, I get why that's not possible in this case as well. It sucks, sure, but I get the thinking behind it at least.
I mean, I would say I understand from a technical perspective why it doesn't work, but I don't get why Sony wouldn't want PlayStation 5 games on there, at least some. We're getting a free PlayStation 5 game every month with just regular old PS Plus right now. How is that a better deal than the separate subscription you have to play these games? I just got Oddworld, I guess. I haven't tried it yet, but
I need to get it.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, PS Plus at least is killing it on the free PS5 games front. So
right.
And you probably have to have that to play PS Now. I don't understand how any of that works, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm guessing maybe PS5 that they're just it's still too new, and maybe Sony still sees too much inherent value in that FOMO, that newness, where they want to push people toward buying as many PS5 games as possible, which might be why we don't see any PS5 content on PlayStation Now yet.
I have my own theory behind that, and I think it's because, you have to remember that PlayStation 5 games can run at 4K up to 120 hertz. Like Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition runs at 4K 120 on PS5. I think it's one of the only games that does, but still. I bet, PS Now sucks on the PS4 for streaming. Could you imagine trying to push a 4K 120 stream on that? Like, I have a feeling that it's less about wanting to push people to buy a PS5. I don't think Sony needs help on that front right now. But I think it's more about them not wanting PS5 games displayed at anything less than like the most optimal way. They don't want people saying like, LOL, look at how bad this PlayStation 5 game looks and tweeting that out. They want, if you're capturing from a PS5, they probably want to control the quality of that to some extent.
That makes sense. That definitely, that's a good theory in my opinion.
True.
All right. Well, I think we've talked enough about PlayStation Now. So let's move on to our next news story, which was posted in our Discord by Lucas, Shiv UK, and Fangs. This is a big one, so here we go. Some of you might be aware that the version 12.0 firmware of the Nintendo Switch firmware software was released yesterday, and it didn't really seem to add a whole lot, at least on the face of it. But if you dig a little deeper, as Oatmeal Dome on Twitter did, you find that it actually lays the groundwork for a lot of interesting stuff in the future. For one, and this is far from the most interesting part, but the update did add the capability for the dock's internal firmware to be updated. However, what's more interesting is that the code behind the upgrade contains a lot of references to Aula, which, as you might recall, is the code name for the upcoming new version of the Nintendo Switch, or the Switch Pro, if you'd rather call it that. Now, Steve, obviously, I like tech, but you're our main tech guy.
Hell
you
yes.
You dig into the guts of this. So I'm going to throw this over to you. What about this interests you the most?
So this is incredibly exciting for a number of reasons. One, we've seen references to Aula in Switch firmware as far back as January of this year, maybe even a little further than that. So Aula is nothing new. The name has been out there, and previously Screez M had, who's a notable Switch hacker, had found references to Aula indicating that, you know, it jives with some of the reports we've heard, that it has an upgraded screen, that it's capable of 4K, you know, at least for media output. This is what we learned back in January. Now we're getting further information on that, indicating that there is, in fact, a brand new dock coming, because it references a new dock model. So, you know, all that talk about these using the existing dock, nope. That's not going to happen. So I guess I'm on the hook for 5 of these fucking things. But what I think is really interesting about this is, one, I mean, there's some kind of dock firmware. The other thing is that it directly confirms 4K output. That's a big deal. It indicates that it'll use DisplayPort, which is not different from what we're doing now with the current Switch, but that it will deliver 4K over USB 3.0, which means that USB port on the bottom of the Switch will be a USB 3 port. You know, that could be Type-C or whatever, but it gives us a lot to work with in terms of understanding what the capabilities of this new model will be. It would be really weird at this point if Nintendo announced a new Switch that wasn't 4K. You know, it also confirms in the firmware that this is not just a docked-only model. It has portable mode. You had mentioned Bluetooth audio. That's a thing that'll probably come to all of them. The original Switch has been capable of Bluetooth audio since the beginning, but Nintendo, for whatever reason at the firmware level, has shut off Bluetooth to anything but Joy-Con.
So frustrating.
It really is, especially because they have
unsurprising.
USB audio.
Yeah.
No,
also not
none of this is surprising.
Not in the least. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff here. I'm actually trying to look at the other tweets right now so that I can break this down a bit further, because Oatmeal Dome had 3 or 4 tweets on this subject. You know, there's the iCradle firmware updater, which is what the dock's internal name is. Let's see, what is the other?
I think one of the most interesting ones is an internal setting that Oatmeal Dome is careful to say they're not confirming, but that it essentially seems to say prefer 4K DisplayPort over USB 3.0, meaning use 4K when you've got a USB 3.0 connection.
Yeah,
and that's
What makes that even more interesting is that, like I mentioned, back in January, it was confirmed that in those same settings for Ola, there was a Realtek 4K media encoder chip included, which would, again, lend further credence to the idea that, yeah, this Switch is going to output 4K in some regard. I mean, again, I don't think you're going to be looking at PS4 Pro or Xbox One X levels of performance, but DLSS definitely seems possible here. Like, we could be getting some type of upscaling to 4K instead of just straight up 4K gaming, which I think is, man, if this is true, if this all bears out, because it's worth mentioning that Nintendo can put whatever the hell they want in the firmware. For instance, there's been for just about a year now a reference to another model called Calcio in the firmware, which is a docked-only Switch with no battery and no game card slot. So that's probably an internal-only model that Nintendo uses to test hardware, because your firmware has to support everything you use, including the stuff you'll never release. And I don't see Nintendo releasing like a digital-only, docked-only Switch. That would be the weirdest, poorest choice on the planet.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be a Switch.
Yeah, exactly. The Nintendo doesn't switch. Yeah, it would be really, really weird for them to do that. But I think this is truly, truly exciting. I mean, if it's getting this far along in the firmware, that means honestly, maybe the reports of it coming out in 6 or 7 months are not off the mark. Maybe we will be seeing a new Switch in time for the holidays, which, what game are you going to launch with it? But
I mean, at this point,
there's the one really obvious one.
Could be Breath of the Wild 2. But
yeah,
I feel like Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be 2022. I still feel that way.
I'm with you. I feel like March 2022 is the ideal time to launch it. The 5th anniversary of Breath of the Wild, which, God, like when I think about it that way, time is getting away from me, and we will all be dead soon. But
jeez.
I mean, 2020.
Just to make sure I'm understanding this right, Danilo Aimini says, so this all may imply that the new Switch may still be compatible with the old dock, but it would just not output to the TV in 4K. I think that's what we're saying here, right, Steve? That would be the case?
I believe so. I believe you're correct. I mean, but it's hard to tell, right? Because it could just come down to them physically not being compatible. The new Switch might be too thick or too thin, or somewhere in between, and not physically fit down into the existing dock. But right now, there's no reason to believe that the existing dock wouldn't. But it would certainly be limited to 1080p if that were the case, based on what we say in the firmware.
I feel like they wouldn't want to do that, like not make it compatible. Like, because they're trying to keep it, trying to keep it in like one ecosystem, and I don't think they want to kill off the original Switch yet. So, and all these people who own Switches have a dock in their home, they're probably going to want to keep that compatible.
Right.
Yeah, that's too much market fragmentation.
Yeah,
and that's so much, or I should say, that's so little convenience. If you strip away that convenience of being able to use these docks that you've already had, that doesn't look good.
Especially when they charge how much for a new dock.
Right,
yeah,
they'll call it the new dock.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they probably will. And as actually on that point, Nintendosis says in the chat, "I'm willing to bet money it'll be called the new Nintendo Switch." And I hope you're wrong.
They're gonna
do
it.
You're wrong, but I
they're
think
totally gonna do it. But please,
they're gonna
don't.
do it, and I'm gonna hate it.
I think it was Goron Amber. Yeah, Goron Amber said up above that they are insisting that the new Switch should be called the Super Switch. And I'm going to take that and raise you one more. The Super Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
It's written for you. It is so many people's favorite Nintendo console of all time.
Yep, they won't do it, though.
No, they won't.
They won't do it.
I worked the Super Nintendo.
They could have done Light Switch. They could have done Light Switch, and they did Switch Lite.
Yeah.
I never thought about Light Switch. That's
Switch
amazing.
U. Watch they do Switch U. God, let's hope not.
Switch U.
I just want a Super Nintendo Switch.
It sounds like they're flicking us off.
Super Famicom color scheme, right? That would be so. Oh, Z Patty actually said that as well. Nintendo Switch U. God, let's hope not. But yeah, the Super Nintendo Switch just makes so much sense. They could launch with an SNES and a Super Famicom color color setting. Never gonna do it. It's too cool.
No.
I wish.
I mean, I don't have much to talk about with this sort of thing. It's cool. I've never been tech focused, but it sounds neat. And we're definitely in this whole thing. Like it feels different from the rumors we got for the NX, where it's just like, I don't know what the hell is coming. There's just all these weird rumors, and it seems like we're just getting more and more of a clear picture as we go along. And now it's just a matter of when's Nintendo going to show it off, because it's kind of just, it's been an open secret, and then now they're just like trying to slide this stuff in. But you'd think they'd find a way to hide this a little bit better, but it's Nintendo.
You'd imagine,
right?
I mean, that would certainly be helpful. I have to let you guys know, because today is a day full of technical wonders, that all my web browsers have crashed and stopped working. So
sick.
No more previews.
Nice. Good.
I don't even have the chat anymore, which is
cool.
Okay. That's what you pay for in the live audience tier. Thanks, Windows.
Well, speaking of the chat, I think Classy Mudkip's idea is my favorite so far. Nintendo 358 over 2 Switch. I love it. Let's go with that.
I like the Series Ash, and I still like no.
Okay, well, I think we've discussed this just about as much as we can. So let's go ahead and move right along to our next news story, and this is something I'm pretty excited about. And that is that Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury Spirits, mainly Bowser's Fury Spirits, are coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate in a new Spirit event that starts Friday and runs for 5 days. And this is going to add 3 brand new spirits to the game. Giga Cat Mario, a bunch of cats, and of course, Fury Bowser, who I am committed to calling Godslayer Bowser because that is so much cooler. Yeah, I mean, those are the 3 that you would expect, right, from Bowser's Fury. Yeah, I'm all about it. I love these new Spirit events that add new stuff to the game. I'm going to keep my Spirit collection at 100%. We just got the Monster Hunter Rise Spirit event last week. I'm all about it. Keep adding new spirits. I love ducking back in every once in a while to take on these new battles. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're cute. It's cute. It's nice to see them continue to pop it. But there's not a whole lot to say here. But it's cool that we get these new spirit battles as time goes on, and Fury Bowser sticking around. Of course, he's a legend. That feels appropriate.
Right.
Yeah,
because
I agree with that.
Fury Bowser was one of the more annoying parts of. As cool as he was in Bowser's Fury, God, he is so far up your ass, especially toward the end of the game. He will never leave. Like, well, it doesn't matter where you are never safe from his giant fire blasts, and it's really cool in an atmospheric sense, but it can be a little annoying when you're trying to get something done, and he just will not leave you alone.
And then he's never there when you need him, by the way.
Right. That's more my problem.
Right?
You need him for that specific thing, and then you're just waiting around like, all right, Bowser, whenever.
Because every island has at least, or every course has at least one cat shine hidden behind those Fury blocks, right? So you
then
have to wait.
And then what was it, 5 shines that you needed to get on that platform that only would show up when he spawns?
Yeah, those are the last 5 that I got because I didn't even know about that platform till toward the end of my playthrough, and I was like, do I really have to wait 5 times for this guy, or 4 more times for this guy to show up? Damn it! But I still did it, so.
They really got the value of the Bowser amiibo in there.
Yeah,
right.
Slime again, and ugh. But it's cool. So, it's nice to have these extra battles, and I'm curious what other spirits we'll get. It makes sense for the Nintendo games, but it's been a while since. Well, no, we just got Monster Hunter Rise. Never mind. It's a lot of Capcom stuff because we got the Resident Evil spirits as well.
I hope we get some Ace Attorney spirits someday. I feel like there should be at least some Ace Attorney spirits. Obviously, we'd love to have Phoenix himself as a playable character. I would love that as well. But even if he can't, I just would like some Ace Attorney spirits, especially where Capcom representation is concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think Ace Attorney has a pretty strong legacy with Nintendo platforms, so it'd be nice to see him in Smash in some way.
Yeah, I'd really like to see what creative spirit battles they'd come up with for the cast, right? I'd really want to know. There's so much they could do with just the various wacky characters that exist in that series. Goto especially, I feel like, with his whole thing for throwing hot coffee at mainly Phoenix. I was going to say people, mainly Phoenix. You got to have the super spicy curry item for him, right? That's got to be a thing that happens.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will bring the total number of spirits in the game up to, if I remember correctly, 1,473, and I am going to keep getting all of them because you can't have an 100% collection at this point and then let it lapse. If you've done the work up to now, you just got to keep it topped off, right?
Watch, they'll introduce one 48 years from now just to screw with you.
Yeah,
right. Dig out your Switch, Ash.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, there's not too much more to say about that. However, there is another Nintendo-related announcement that is very exciting, and that is what our next news story is about. So let's go ahead and get that up on screen.
There's no on screen right now.
Oh, right, there isn't because your browser's crashed. Okay, so this story was posted in our Discord by 4 different people. Dan Powell,
everybody kind of knew about it. It just sort
Rob,
of exploded.
and Fangs were all pretty hype about this, and that is, of course, Pac-Man 99 has been announced, and it's coming out. As of this recording, is coming out tonight, probably right after we finish this recording. It's also going to include a $30 DLC pack that includes various new modes, or various additional modes, as well as custom themes based on games like Galaga, which is really cool, and I believe Dig Dug was one of them. And it's also extra music, which of course is nice for me. And I gotta say, I tweeted about this yesterday, right? This doesn't make up for the loss of Super Mario Bros. 35. Let's just get that out there. Yeah. It doesn't, for me at least. However, I watched the trailer a few times, and I have come to realize that this is essentially a more head-to-head competitive version of Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, which I have said in many other places and many other times is one of my favorite games ever. And so, that being the case, I'm actually really hyped for this, you guys.
I am too. I watched the trailer, and I did our quick news update on the game, and I was really thrilled to see this. It looks really exciting. I was wondering how they would handle, combat, essentially. 99 people, fighting each other in this. And I love the idea of the jammer Pac-Man, that instead of, you know, adding things that'll kill you, instead they just slow you down. So you technically have a chance of survival, especially when you factor in the fact that there are power-ups and you can increase Pac-Man's speed, which I would think would be better to use as a countermeasure after you get hit by a jammer Pac-Man than to use it to just make him faster in general. But it'll be interesting to see how strategy plays out in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I find the Championship Edition 2 mechanic of lining up all those ghosts and just chopping them all at once and that leading to a bigger bonus already so addicting when you're playing it just to beat your own high score. But against other people in a head-to-head format, or I should say head to 98 other heads format, this just sounds really exciting to me. And not just that, but the music in the trailer gives me a pretty strong indication that they're going to go pretty heavy on the electronic dance music / techno style approach that they went in for the championship games, and I'm all about that. Bandai Namco has such an amazing sound team, and the fact that the DLC adds even more music, I gotta say, I feel like they made this DLC with me in mind, because I probably wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. But
I mean, Ash, there's a Bravo Man theme.
Exactly. Yeah. Isn't one of the new stage? Oh, that's
one
awesome.
of the themes is Bravo Man.
I didn't realize. Okay, well,
it's an interesting lineup of classic Namco things, because it's Bravo Man, Return of Ishtar, Xevious, The Legend of Valkyrie, Namco Classic 5, Cosmo Gang the Video, which some of these I've never even heard of, Wonder Momo, Galaga, Yokai Duchuku, and Namco Classic 3. So
all right, that was at least 3 Shifty Look franchises represented there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up this DLC. I'm pretty sure.
Man, if they can pull classic Namco or even just other Namco properties, like, okay, here's a Tails board, here's a Klonoa board, screw it, Dragon Ball board.
Oh, come on,
oh man,
board would be awesome.
Grab those Dragon Balls, Steve, instead of the power pellets.
That's going in and out of context for sure.
Yep.
So Gil, I heard you mention that you agreed that this doesn't make up for the loss of Mario 35, but are you still looking forward to checking this out as well?
Yeah, I am. Actually, I didn't realize it at the time, but Pac-Man Champion, I don't think I played Championship Edition 2, but
okay.
The first one, that's an arcade cabinet, right?
No, the Championship Edition 2 came to, I believe, originally was PS4?
I forget which one, but it plays like the classic one. It's just with all the neon. And
okay, yeah. Because there's an arcade one that's like head to head.
Oh, it's Pac-Man. You're talking about Pac-Man. Is it not Versus? But I know what you're talking about. There's a Pac-Man 4-player championship thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't play like that at all. It's a completely different kind of thing. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I saw a little bit. I didn't finish the trailer. I watched like a minute of it. But no, it looks super interesting. I like Pac-Man, so like, and for example, like I am terrible at Tetris, so I never was able to really get into Tetris 99.
Same.
So I'm pretty excited for Pac-Man.
Yeah, same. I was never going to go back to Tetris 99, even with the death of Mario 35. I was always just so bad at it. I never really had that much fun with it, because like you said, Gil, I suck at Tetris.
Yeah.
Especially competitive Tetris, apparently. So this is something I think that maybe even though it's not quite as tailored to me as Mario 35, being a platforming guy, I played enough Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 that I think I'll be fairly competitive in this. I guess we'll find out pretty soon, since it's coming out in less than an hour, I guess, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I tweeted this out last night, but I still stick by it, where it's, I'm down with this whole 99 genre we got going, and they keep going with different games. It's not just all puzzles. It's a platformer, puzzle now, and now just classic arcade stuff. And I joked about like Final Fantasy 99, where like in my head it was just like you get a classic party and you try to slay monsters, and the more monsters you slay goes to other people who have to stack up their monsters and kind of keep it going that way. But then people were saying like, no, Sonic 99, and I was like, that makes even more sense, because just imagine Sonic 2 or Sonic 3's battle mode, make that 99 player.
That would be sick.
Oh yeah, man, that would be so cool.
That, and of course, the other obvious one for me is Mega Man 99. There's so much they could do. And I know, Gil, you're a big Mega Man fan like I am, so you're probably thinking about how awesomely and all the different ways they can do this as well. But
absolutely.
Oh man, they'll never do it. They'll never do it. But I would. There's so many cool.
You know what I want? I want Tempest 99.
Oh, okay. It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Nice.
Never gonna happen.
No.
That's even less likely than Mega Man 99, and that's already not likely.
I'm still waiting for a
Goron
Zelda
Amber.
35 or a Zelda 99, which I won't get, but I'm still holding out hope for it.
Oh, Bubble Bobble.
Bobble.
That is a great idea.
That's perfect for that.
I mean, even going puzzle route, Bust a Move. Bust a Move is a good one.
Bust a Move. Goron Amber has a great idea in the chat. WarioWare 99. That could be great. That kind of reminds me of what the WarioWare Mega Micro Games Inc. for GameCube had a multiplayer mode that I feel like could work a bit like a 99 version of WarioWare, where it was just basically kind of like a survival. The mini games keep getting faster and faster and faster, and then people just keep dropping out.
Just make it based off the gamer thing from Game & Wario, where everybody has to like, mom's coming, everybody hides, and that's how you knock out other players, is you can sick mom on them. Tell on mom.
With so many Puyo 99, Kirby 99 in the chat. Ditto M has the one I want, as well as Nintendo says Panel de Pon 99. If they ever did a Puzzle League 99, I don't know how I would ever get anything done. I would be in so much trouble. I love Puzzle League so much. This is all to say that Pac-Man 99 looks pretty damn exciting. And though I do still really hope they revive Mario 35 and turn it into a fully featured paid product, which I would happily buy. For now, this is nice. This is nice that we have something to kind of help fill that void, even though it doesn't entirely fill it. So, yeah. But I think we've chatted about that just about as much as we can. So let's go ahead and move on to our next news story. And that has to do with an old SEGA mascot that predates even Sonic. And this was posted in our server by Shellshock Prime, and that is that Alex Kidd in Miracle World Deluxe has a release date of June 24th. And that's nice to see, because this was announced, and then it kind of just fell silent for a little bit. And we weren't really sure what was going on with it, and now it has resurfaced, and it's coming out in about 2.5 months.
I literally forgot that it was announced in the first place.
Right.
When the trailer came out, I was like, wait, is this new? No.
And this is pretty cool. I mean, Alex Kidd always kind of got short shrift, right? Like he kind of got the short end of the stick in terms of ever really having a fair chance at being Sega's mascot, because he was upstaged by Sonic pretty quickly. It's nice to see him coming back in this form.
It gives him another chance, but I also don't know if it's actually going to be enough.
It's not going to be.
No, I don't think so either.
I think that for Sega Master System kids like me, it's a big deal, and I don't see it reaching far outside. Like, Alex Kidd is a weird mascot. Let's just point that out. I think he's maybe part monkey. Like, I'm not sure. He's got,
I think so. It's also based off Rock, Paper, Scissors.
I was gonna say all the bosses are John Ken related, and
he's got like a Sun Wukong going on.
He's just a weird dude. Like, sometimes one of the power-ups is like a tiny car that never really worked quite right. Like, the minute you touch anything with it, it's gone, which you would think the point is to touch things with it. But I will say that from what I saw in today's trailer, I was really excited for it, because it does something that I really like, and that's that you can switch between Master System graphics and these new HD visuals that they created for it, which is very similar to, I want to say, the Wonder Boy game that Lizard Cube did.
Yes.
Which, the Dragon's Trap. I love that it did that.
That was such a great way to do a remaster of an 8-bit game, and I wish more people would steal that idea. So I'm glad to see that it's on display here. I just hope it's the same like single button implementation that Lizard Cube pulled off for this.
Same.
But we'll see. I mean, either way, I'm on board for this. I sent out a request for a review copy the minute the trailer dropped. I am ready to check this out. I'm happy that it's on Switch. I think that's the ideal platform for a game like this. But no matter how many good things you can say about it, it definitely isn't going to light the world on fire. Alex Kidd is not going to experience a resurgence. He's just too weird and too obscure at this point to merit that. I mean, if Sonic can't survive in today's environment, there's no way Alex Kidd is going to.
Wait, when did Sonic die? When did Sonic stop surviving? I didn't hear about this.
I think it was around the time that Sonic Forces came out. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Sega was like, we're going to do so much stuff with Sonic, and then they're like, gotta take him out back and just
comparatively, Alex Kidd is just not a super great designed character. Like visually.
No.
Meanwhile, like Sonic's been running off of his character design since day one, and it doesn't even matter if he has bad games because he's a good character.
That is true. Like I imagine that there was just a mountain of cocaine in the room when Sega designed Alex Kidd. They're like, "Is he a monkey or a boy?" And someone's just like, "Yes." Are those red pajamas? Sure they are.
Yeah.
What does he fight with? Giant hands.
I mean,
I'm really tired.
He somehow got 6 games in the course of 4 years.
They all blend together for me too. I can't tell them apart. I don't know which one's which.
There is one where he's in Shinobi for some reason. They're like, that's the crossover we're gonna make.
No, okay. I just found the weirdest one. I'm looking at his wiki page here. Alex Kidd BMX Trial.
All right.
All
right.
Yeah. Japanese exclusive, obviously. But it's just him going through an obstacle course, going to the finish line. It's basically Paperboy, from what I can tell. What?
Yeah,
what in the world? That's
Damn
wild.
You, Google Chrome.
I think the naming schemes just confuse me too, because they all like, because where like other games will like be numbered sequels or whatever. It's always it's Alex Kidd in I don't know. Alex Kidd in
there place.
That place over there. Alex Kidd in Dumpster World.
Dumpster World.
Jesus. I do think there's something charming about the fact, though, that even though Alex Kidd isn't relevant anymore and will never return to prominence, I think we can all say that's pretty safely, that there's still, this can still happen. That it's not just the big name, most relevant characters still having things happen these days. And we saw it a little bit with Banjo-Kazooie and Smash, and we're seeing it with this Alex Kidd remake. I just think that's... I'm glad
Bubsy came back.
Bubsy,
irony will get you a long way. Like we are just a few years off from some sort of Gex reboot happening.
Yeah, true. You're right. Yeah, so sometimes it can blow up in our face, and we get
I'd
Bubsy.
be down.
That's true.
I'd be though. Those new Bubsy games were not good.
No,
that's what I heard. Hey, we also got Shaq Fu, a Legend Reborn. So
yeah, I played that one too. That was
so did I. Not great.
That's the problem.
Who knew? New games based off bad games continue to be bad.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bubsy is really just staying true to his legacy at this point.
Yeah. Right.
In QA, they were probably like, "This game is too fun."
I want to see a new Glover.
A new Glover.
Oh yeah, Glover.
We saw that. We had that one news story about like it sounded like somebody was working on a Glover port to Switch, but we haven't heard any official announcement or anything like that. So
thank God.
Might happen.
I want to see somebody finish Glover 2.
Oh, that'd be cool. If the first one does well, actually finish Glover 2, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. But no, it's nice that this is happening. And I think someone in the chat pointed out that it's happening a day before Sonic's 30th birthday as well. I lost it. Oh yeah,
I would love it if
it's immediately going to be.
I was going to say, I would love if Sonic just shows up, like some Sonic release the next day. Like, nope, we got to stick close to history and just overtake Alex Kidd right away.
Just by fate. That's
yeah.
I want Sega to release a game about what it's like for Sonic to actually be 30. I want him to have like a shitty mid-tier corporate job, and he's just, comes home, go puff some snacks, watches Netflix, and goes to bed. They're like, the end. That's all he does now. You did this
kind of like that Rockman Son manga that we're looking forward to, right, Steve?
Well, I mean, Rockman Son is just stupid hot. Like, I want a broken, beat down Sonic. He's like, I used to star in games, but running is hard. Now my knees hurt. I've got fucking arthritis.
So busted up my knee, and it's just.
I got written up by my boss. I just want to go home and drink. Finds a ring in his couch. He's like, these things aren't even worth anything anymore.
Chili stains all over his couch.
God.
He's going through his AA steps and has to make
this is getting pretty dark.
He's
like, Sonic's midlife crisis. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Damn.
His wife won't let him see the kids.
Yeah.
Who's his wife in this case? Are he and Amy estranged, or are we talking
no,
Princess
it's definitely
Sally?
a human.
It's Sally.
It's definitely
Like, who are we talking about here?
my
It's
God.
definitely his girlfriend from Sonic 06.
Oh no.
No, it's got to be. You know
God.
what? No, the show's. If it's a show or whatever you're gonna do, a comic or a show or an anime, you gotta. It's gotta be. They gotta not say who it is. You can't know who the mom is, so that it's always up for speculation.
It indicates that it's like maybe Sally, but it's like she's not official anymore, so we gotta. She's
You
lost.
just hear violent arguments between them on the phone.
I'll
see him when I want.
Like Z Patty says, "You've gone too fast in this life."
I need this to be a real thing. Like,
Me too. Oh my God, Mario Vargas with the deepest cut of all, freaking Madonna from the old concept. That's true. He used to have a Madonna-like girlfriend in the oldest concepts of Sonic. Yeah, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
Joseph Rutkin says this is apparently literally kind of funny Sonic for Ire. I did not know that.
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like we
Yeah,
could
I had
come
no
up
idea.
with really, really dark scenarios for this. Literally all night if we allowed ourselves to. But I know we all do have things to get to and do tonight, so we probably shouldn't muse about Sonic's sad adulthood for hours on end. So let's go ahead and move to our next story. And this one's kind of weird. So this was posted in our Discord server by Fangs, and apparently a full 4K remaster of TimeSplitters 2 has been hidden all along in Homefront the Revolution, but can no longer be accessed, at least with the code that was used to access it, because that code was lost to a Discord ban, of all things. So I don't even know where to go with this. Go ahead.
no, what? I mean, how do you lose the code?
Right?
I thought the internet
I have
didn't
no
forget.
idea.
Right. So yeah, so I guess it was given to a friend to leak in a Discord chat, but I guess I have the article's kind of lagging for me. But I guess whatever Discord server got that code didn't believe that such a thing could possibly be true, so the account was banned for, I guess, purporting something that they felt to be a lie. Let's see. So this is weird. Yeah.
So
That's insane.
Basically, according to this, it came about because former Crytek developer Matt Phillips was responding to ex-Vlambeer designer J.W. Nijman, his call for developers to share Easter eggs they hid in games. There's stuff like, apparently Division has Ninja Turtles, Dragon Age 2 has a giant cheese wheel, and Phillips, of course, said about the 4K port of TimeSplitters 2, and it was intended to be playable, but he actually ported a network stack to right on top of the Homefront's co-op mode. And he said, and that's a big if, anyone is able to hack 2 or more arcades into one of the co-op maps, it'll boot into the multiplayer menus, allowing you to actually play multiplayer TimeSplitters 2 in 4K.
Wow.
And yeah.
That is like a next level flex. As someone who's constantly accused of flexing, that's a damn good flex. Like, they're like, what are your
oh no.
Yeah.
I got the full the reason why it was lost on Discord. So he lost the notebook that was in it initially, and he gave it to a friend to leak in some Discord channel. They called him a liar and banned his account.
Oh my God.
Right. Which is too good. I mean, it's really a shame, but it's too good.
Wow.
The PC Gamer article we're getting this from does point out, though, that now that that this is public knowledge, that this exists in Homefront, maybe a hacker can get
I'm
at
sure
it
somebody's working on it
it
immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a free game, but what a hell of an Easter egg. Like, I just ported a whole game in my game, no big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
No big deal. No big
in 4K, I up-resed it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you further one up that? Like, port someone else's game into your game? I just remade Ocarina of Time, 4K, no big deal. It's fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
I do small Easter eggs like that all the time. I want this
TimeSplitters
now.
is
I'm
good
gonna buy
game.
Homefront just to play TimeSplitters.
I know, right? TimeSplitters is great too because the ex GoldenEye and Perfect Dark developers, correct? That went off and did their own thing. And I never got TimeSplitters 2, but I enjoyed the original.
Damn, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play a lot of TimeSplitters myself. I think I played a bit of the first one, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. I just think the context of a whole 4K remaster of the second game being hidden in this other game is just really incredible on its own.
It's wild.
Even though I don't have a lot of... Yeah. Like, that's wild. And the way that it was lost, I mean, the way that it was lost to a Discord ban because they thought the person was lying, that's both really funny and really sad at the same time.
The weird thing, or the thing I have to ask about this is, where is this person? Like, I mean, the person is a friend of the person who created the Easter egg, so why doesn't he just, like, text him and say, hey, can you tweet that or some shit? Like, I know I gave you the notebook, but I don't think they'll ban you from Twitter for it. I mean, or couldn't they unban the guy? Like, we run a Discord server. I'm roughly 12% sure I could unban someone. I'm pretty sure you could come back and say, hey, we're really sorry. We would like the free 4K port of that really good game. Could you please post it again?
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't seem
I bet,
impossible.
Though, within 3 months, if not even a month's time, we'll be reporting on, hey, remember that TimeSplitters 2 Homefront story we talked about a month ago? Well, a hacker has now unlocked the...
I mean, we got the GoldenEye remake, so...
Yeah, please, hackers, instead of posting people's personal information online or ransomwaring huge game companies, can you please just use your powers to get us TimeSplitters just once?
Right.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our final news story of the day. Now, I haven't told you guys this, but I actually have an imaginary friend in my head. His name is Zach, and he's particularly excited about this next one. I'm sorry. I see you shaking your head, Derek. I had to try. So, Deadly Premonition 2 is headed to Steam this year, apparently, according to its publisher, Thunderful Group's annual report. We don't know when it's coming exactly this year, but it apparently is happening. Let's just hope that it comes with at least some technical fixes.
I mean, it has to at this point. Like, this PC version might actually allow the game to, be enjoyed. Maybe.
I guess. But, I mean, it's not as though it couldn't run much, much, much better on Switch. So I hope that's not their rationale. Like, well, now that it's on PC, we can have it actually look and run decently. Nah, Switch can do that too.
Mods.
Will it run better than Cyberpunk is the real question.
Oh my god!
Can we get it at a stable 30 FPS on PC? Probably not. Not. That's shooting too high.
Probably not, right? And it may be, as you said, Derek, it may be happening with mods, and that may be really the only way that Deadly Premonition 2's technical performance does get improved. Gil, are you a Deadly Premonition fan at all?
I am not.
All right. I have played the first game a little bit, and I really liked... It's very, very weird. It's clearly technically not very sound, but it's just very Twin Peaksy, kind of The Room-ish. It's really weird, and I like it, but I just never really got around to finishing it.
I first encountered Deadly Premonition from I forget the name of them, but there was an old show on the Escapist, where they basically did MST3K except with video game openings, and so they showed the opening to Deadly Premonition, and I'm watching this, I'm like, what the hell is up with this game? Like, I had no idea what was going on, and all of a sudden it just became this huge hit, and I'm like, sure, but it always looked like garbage to me. It's like, all right, sure.
Yeah, I've never understood the appeal. I get that some people really enjoy it, probably for its campiness or unintentional cheesiness or whatever. I really don't know, but I took one look at the Switch version and I was like, now's not the time. This is not a thing I'm spending my energy on. I mean, when Digital Foundry makes a video on the performance of a game because it's so bad, you know that you probably should not spend your time on it. Like, I didn't know that their little graph that they show at the bottom of all their videos could go so low. They're like,
it was shockingly bad. It really, and that's such a shame. Like, so maybe the best we can hope for is that they actually do put a little bit more technical polish into the PC version, and maybe that will then be translated into a Switch update. But I feel like that's probably pie in the sky type hopes as well. So yeah, it's a shame though, because Deadly Premonition's legacy, I think, deserved a little better than what it got, at least technically, in Deadly Premonition 2. So it's a shame, but yeah, well, that does bring us to our news for the end of the day. Now, before we go ahead and do our usual outro stuff, I have a surprise for everybody. Now, if you were there for my and Steve's reaction to the Street Fighter V Spring Update, you've already seen this, but for the rest of you, check out what has come in the mail.
Oh, nice.
I got my Good Vibes Gaming navy blue shirt. Yeah, and cool. I gotta say, as I told Steve yesterday, this thing's comfy. The material's nice. It's breathable. It fits well. Yeah, so now that all three of us have gotten our merch samples, our masks and shirts, we all are pretty happy with the way they're feeling and fitting. I think we're closer than ever to launching our merch. So look forward to that. For those of you, I know a lot of you have been very patient and asking, hey, when can we buy GVG merch? And we're so thankful that you want to. So I think we're closer than ever now. And I think Steve and I are going to take point on getting that ready, yeah?
Yeah, we should be able to get those available by the next episode of TNT. So
I think I'm gonna need one of them.
You should see.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, so once we, of course, get that going, we will have links to our merch store in the description below, of course, so you'll be able to find it there. But, yeah, so I just want to give you guys a quick sneak peek of that. But with that, we are at the end of our episode for today. But before we go into our usual outro, Gil, can you please tell our lovely audience where they can find you, man?
You can find me at youtube.com/gillythekid, where I make videos. And I also stream on Twitch, and that's Gilly the Kid YT for Twitch.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, Gil, thanks again so much, man, for joining us today. It's been a blast having you here. And I hope to have you back again when we have some Mega Man news to discuss. That would be
ooh.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
We'll need to hype over some Mega Man news together for sure. So we'll definitely have you back.
There was a little bit of Mega Man news like that was brought up, but it was like from Proto Dude, where it's apparently some sort of like Japanese exclusive box for Mega Man Battle Network, but it's
a Rock Band EXE anniversary box. Yeah, and it's cool, but it's not like the kind of
yeah, exactly.
I love Battle Network, but it's not
exactly
like a new
worth
Battle Network game. Hell yeah.
I can't believe I'm the one asking for an update on this, and that we just didn't get it organically at some point throughout the last couple episodes. But whatever happened with the April 1st Rockman reveals? Were those real, or were they a joke, or what the hell were they to begin with?
So all of them except for the augmented reality mode were real.
Nailed it.
So
I knew that one was fake.
Mega Man Volnut is real. He's in the game. You can play as him now. Yeah, he's real.
They put out a trailer. I watched that trailer. I'm
with the shades. I love it.
Yeah, I'm totally down for bad Mega Man Legends.
Nice.
Exactly.
So yeah,
when are we getting Red Ash?
I know. Hopefully never.
I'm guessing. I think they released like a bit of the anime, but that's about it. So.
But yeah, everything except for the AR thing was real, and hopefully that also means that the whole the developer code about potential Steam references does mean that it's in development for Steam, but it may not be. We don't know. But yeah, Bad Mega Man Volnut, most importantly, was real. He's in the game, and he's hilarious.
That's amazing.
So yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, Gil, for being on the show, and thank you, as always, of course, to our incredible supporters, including our patrons at the producer tier and above, because without you, this show would not be happening, and we're so thankful to be and privileged to be able to bring you this show 3 times a week. So thank you so much for your support. In addition, of course, a gargantuan thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above, and those awesome people include Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Dan Entwistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Floating Mew, Aiko Carroll, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Nick Waterman, Kitty Kong Fax, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, Macalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Shadow the Cat, Azran127, Kinrule09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Douglas Chamix, Andrew Medeiros, Oram M, Phantom 23, Patrick Harrison, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoy, Flaming Highwayman, Sean Garrett, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Master Lynx, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Kota, Michael Macau, Matthew Wong, Ashish Joshi, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hooby, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, Rosa Pardo Bowling,
Hi, Mom.
Scuff196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Wheezy Penguin, and Anthony Wilson Jr. Now, of course, remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gdgaming, where you can support us at a myriad of tiers. Our most popular tier is, of course, our $5 live audience tier, where you can watch the show and interact with us live and our guests live 3 times a week for our recordings of today's news tonight. But, of course, regardless of whether you support us on Patreon or not, we love you all the same. If you could just, drop a like and subscribe here on YouTube, you're just as awesome. We thank you all so much for your support, and we will see you next time for today's news tonight. And until then, everybody, good night and good vibes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.